A team that you're very familiar with in Orlando, even with some lineup changes with the
Mhm.
Olympics and all that.
Mhm.
A chance to qualify
Mhm.
for the Summer Cup semifinals.
Mhm.
Just your thoughts on this matchup and what's at stake.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another in-league opponent, right? Which is another opportunity for us to understand, obviously, a very respectable side. One that even you see from their functions and their tactics is very similar. So what they're being taught from those standpoints, we will see very similar things. Obviously, personnel is a bit different, but yeah, very respectable side. And I think for us, it's coming into this obviously in a position that we can continue on, which we would like to continue on. And just continue to build off of last week. I thought we had some very good moments last week. So I think for us, it's continuing to push off what we're teaching, what we feel we can do, where we feel we can expose with this particular group, and how we will get more opportunities.
Questions, guys?
So sitting essentially in fourth place with North Carolina right behind on goal difference.
Mhm.
Do you guys start looking at the math and thinking 3 points at a win in 90 minutes
Mhm.
almost ensures you move forward?
Mhm.
A PK win plus 2 points make things difficult. Do you send that message down to the players so that if they're in a position late in the game is still tied, they don't necessarily panic, or do they know what the job is? Or do you kind of keep that away from them and just give them the game plan?
Yeah, keep them away from it. I think the biggest thing is like you can go through all of the scenarios. For me, all of the scenarios are irrelevant of just getting our job done. We need to get our job done, and then the scenarios take care of themselves because it's based off of what we do and it's based off of what other people do. You could go the what ifs in every single category, can't you? So our main focus is just to do our job, get a result out of the game, and then we go from there. That's all we've kind of focused on. Obviously, there's different scenarios because we have the TWC coming right after. So in the sense of our turnaround time, it will be quick. So for us, it's just continuing to balance from a schedule perspective what it'll look like on our end, but continuing to push the players to obviously get a result. We want a result.
Irrespective of result
Mhm.
against North Carolina, I think pretty much everybody was on board with the fact that Racing looked like they played a lot better.
Mhm.
What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, and I think we've adapted some things. I think we've used this time, as I've said previously, we're missing two players that we're incredibly proud of to represent their countries, but we have a majority of our group. So I took it as an opportunity to test something specifically that I would like to see in the group, and I think the group's adapted massively to it. And those two games, specifically Rayadas and North Carolina, that's what I'm so grateful for during this opportunity, having a majority of our group to test some things that I think we can use in league. Again, like I said, the group's adapted massively to that. So it's a huge testament to them. And I think we're just continuing to push off of what we like, what we're seeing.
We saw the news yesterday on Kirsten,
Mhm.
and I don't know how much she was a part of the plans at the beginning of the year. I know mentally, probably a lot of fans were following along, thinking she was going to be a big part of the plans. What are her challenges going to be next year to kind of get reintegrated into this group?
Yeah, and I think last season, to your point, she was fantastic, wasn't she? She showcased a lot of areas of her game and growth throughout the season that we were very proud of. So coming into the season, of course, you're looking at her as a piece of your team, aren't you? From her impact last season alone. So I think coming in, obviously, dealing with the struggles kind of early on and what that meant for her, right? How we could support her, how we could better understand her scenario. And I think for us, we just continue to try and support as much as possible as we got answers and as she got answers. Obviously, we weren't planning on this being the case, and I know she wasn't planning on this being the case. We obviously respect her massively, what she means to the group, not only out on the field, but what she means to the group inside the locker room. I think she represents this club in every aspect, and she cares a lot about this club. And so, this is the scenario that we're in. And right now it's just about supporting her as the player and what her needs are to eventually get her back. So that's the biggest focus right now.
With that injury being season ending and the transfer window to something coming up, are you looking at any kind of additions this summer? You don't have to be specific, but just in general, I mean, always probably looking to add, but is it something that you're actively looking to maybe add a player or two?
Yeah, I think we're working hard to see, and we've been working hard to see what is available and obviously what our needs are. And I think for us, we're just working very diligently as a group to assess all of that at the current moment.
So for the stats nerds out there, Racing's had above 80% pass accuracy the last 4 games in a row. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to the attention to detail from the players. I think, after the North Carolina game away, I know we had some talk internally about the players and their ideas and what they're trying to execute. I think it's underestimated how incredible this group is in the sense of coachability. They want to be coached, they want to be pushed, they want to be supported along with the process, but they want to be pushed in every aspect of their game, both individually and as a group. And I think we're continuing to push those technical habits within that technical detail. And I think the group's really adapting to it. I think the group's really respective and very attentive to what those asks are. And then just continuing to keep them active, whether it's small type of decision-making and technical work. To bigger picture stuff that allows them to have the time and space to execute technically. But I think the group's done a really good job at understanding positionally kind of what we've been asking, specifically more these last 2-3 games. And it's a big attribute to them. I mean, we can only do so much, right? We can only do so much. We can't make their legs move. We can't make their brain tick. It's a huge tribute to them with the information that we're trying to give and the sessions that we're trying to run, because we believe we're trying to set them up for success. That's their job, isn't it? But it's their choice whether they grab a hold of it and run or whether they don't. And I think it's a huge testament to what they've done.
You mentioned the Women's Cup coming up soon.
Yes.
Is that too soon to be giving any thought to how you might do that differently, if you even would do it differently?
Yeah, I think it's too soon at this point. I think obviously, even in league, you just have to take it game by game, but we are aware that this is a tight turnaround. But I think for us, it's just game by game at this point. Obviously, internally with us as a staff, as support staff, we have to look at the bigger picture stuff, but what we're presenting to the group is game by game, always, yeah.
Kayla has played the 9 the last couple of games.
Yes.
Which, if I remember correctly, is pretty new. I don't think she's played there before since she's been here. And in my humble opinion, been very good there. What were you seeing that thought that could be an option, and why do you think that that's been so successful?
Yeah, I think there's been like a few occasions that I'm like, she's just got some very incredible attributes. Her timing to pop off and pop into space. So then you start to process, okay, if she's on a back line and she's causing that havoc in between a midfield and a back line, holy heck, her ability to turn, her deceptiveness in her turn. So how she drops an upper body movement to be able to turn out the opposite way with her feet. There's just been a few things that I'm like, and I wanted to see it during this time. Again, you talk about a testing period. It's an opportunity for me to test even these types of things. So I think she's done very well. I think she's really adapted quickly to obviously what I'm asking from a defending standpoint, but also what she's been able to do on the ball for us. And as we progressively get higher, holding it, allowing players to join the build, I think she's done a fantastic job.
Anything else for that?
Yeah.